If you've seen this, good. I can't tell, but I have a Switch. I had the Switch for one reason. I wanted to play games. I wanted to play games with my family. Like you can do with the Wii and all that, which I really don't see much of a difference between the Wii and the Switch. Or the Wii and the GameCube. Graphics, yes, better. But the thing that we were even taught, the thing we were even taught in school is make the games on computers. Consoles are computers, glorified computers. I never really got that when I was a little kid because I didn't really have a computer. And when we finally got a computer, I think it was around 10th, I had no clue how the internet worked. The thing I don't get is they make the game on a computer, run the game on the computer before they put it on the console. So, yes, they probably have a program that runs on the computer to make it run. A specific operating system for the computer. Why they don't make money off of consoles, and I guess that's why they're doing what they're doing now. You pay for the privilege of using a cam. You pay for the privilege of using a button. You pay for the privilege of using a mic. You pay for the privilege of playing online with your friends. You pay for the privilege of their own version of Discord. From what I understand from my cousin, who bought the Switch 2, and I told them, not all the games, like how for the Switch, not all the games are available for you to own. It's not like, I own the games. You own the games for as long as the console will let you play it. Or for however long they decide they want you to be able to play it. Some cartridges, evidently from what I hear, have a baked-in time limit, so I really hope my Breath of the Wild games, which was one of the main reasons I got the goddamn Switch, aside from being able to play with my family, Mario Kart and all that. Yes, at home, playing with people on a console. It must scare all of you people that go crying whenever anyone complains about your little fucking Nintendo groupie, whatever the fuck. I played the games on the consoles because I couldn't afford a proper PC. I didn't even understand. I only ever thought and understood that with a console you could play games. I didn't realize that when a computer was put in front of you, it was not a console. When it played a game, I did not fully grasp that it wasn't a console. It played a game, and I only knew that consoles could play games. Just how you think that only the Switch 2 can play Switch 2 games. Drinking my vinegar beet juice. Because it's good for you. Add a little salt. Just makes things better. Where was I? Yes. I think it was about the Switch 2, which sometimes looks like a Nintendo 64, which sometimes looks like a GameCube, which most of the time looks like a GameCube or a Wii. Performance-wise, graphical-wise. Okay, I'm probably being too nice. Somewhere between a N64 and a Wii. Or an N64 and a GameCube. You know? Smooth. It's just like adding smoothing out characters and stuff to make it easier for the console to run. When the console has enough processing power to have a little bit more graphical performance. A whole lot of people complained about not having enough performance. It's just like, well, if they would have added a little bit more cooling to it, proper cooling, and made it probably more for just being a console. A lot of people have modded their Switches to be able to take advantage of that little bit of a performance, which makes a huge difference. I've seen the Switch, you know how they made the Switch so that it was more power efficient, shrinking down the dies and stuff. Well, they pretty much, by modding it, made it so that the thing goes back to default time you can play on it without charging it, but runs smoother. If you made some modifications, could look better. All I'm asking is, yes, you could have made this Switch. You could have made it. You could have done smart. You could have done smart. You could have made a console. You could have made a console with the cartridge being able to be stuck in the top. That would make us all happy. Make it so that you go back, just be like, we are so sorry for attacking Pal World. We are so sorry for attacking anyone who tries to own their games when they buy them from us. Now it's just you agree to not wanting to own the game when you buy the game, when you use the console. So when you go into activate said, let me say it louder. When you go into activate said console, you are agreeing to getting fucked in the ass. Did I say that clear enough? Now, I don't know about you, but I know personally, very personally, I would not like being fucked in the ass. I sure as hell do not want fucked in the ass. All I wanted from Nintendo, when I heard that they'd be using Joy-Cons and stuff, I thought VR, because it's, well, I mean, you could use phones for VR. You're literally making a console, so I just had high hopes, shattered, but I thought something amazing would happen. Don't bring up their disastrous VR trash that they tried doing. Please don't. If anyone does view this, please, I'm begging you. I looked at it before and same disappointment fell over me. Very disappointed. But I have my games. I even tried getting the Scarlet and Violet. I gave that full on to my cousin because I wanted so bad to play that game. My cousin wanted to play it too, so we pitched in together. I was going to have one game. She was going to have the other. I got Scarlet. When I tried playing that game, it was a slideshow. I was very disappointed. And I know why it was a slideshow. I know the Switch could handle quite a bit of stuff. it was underutilized in the hardware department because they a lot of people probably believed you wouldn't need to use it. There's a reason they spent so much time developing the Breath of the Wild game, the Zelda Breath of the Wild game. And it ran. A huge world ran. But I did notice the glaring problem that was if you look beyond what is initially rendered near you, if you're not looking at like a mountain or anything, it's fine to a degree. You're looking at something I don't know, maybe a wagon or a wagon and a half. If you had the horse, a wagon away. The graphical details take a shit. They just they hit they they hit the shitter hard. So what I want you to understand is I like consoles. I like owning stuff. I had friends that couldn't understand why I buy 5 copies of a game that I liked. Especially, I usually get the extra copies when they were on sale. I'd get the game, play it, and if I liked it, I'd want to make sure that I was able to have it in the future. You want to know another reason? I bought a game before. My one friend, I had bought 5 of them. My one friend decided it'd be fun because they had lots of money. They decided it'd be funny if they just broke my disc. And they looked at me. I was visibly angry. They said, "How you feel about that?" But you know, you're never allowed to come here again. And they looked at me like, "Why you gotta be like that?" Just trying to prove a point to you. I have no point. I have no clue what point they were trying to prove. They're wealthy. I'm not. Oh, they can do what they want, and I can't. Doesn't mean I have to let them come into my life. Even if their mother is a party or was partying with my mother, they were brought along so they could spend time in the house I lived as a kid. I'd saved that money. I saved it. Scrounged it together, doing whatever I could. Just because you can have everything handed to you, just because you can get every little fucking thing in the world, doesn't mean everyone else can. But I got a gaming PC. Um, all my games I can play on it. I'm disappointed when the games I've played on the consoles don't run how they'd run on a console, but that's because every company's fighting them and they can only do so much. I've had to adjust settings on the PS2 emulators where you'd think it'd run normally on the regular setting. You have to turn it up to actually a higher graphical setting, which makes it look how it looked when you played it on the PS2. I was like, oh, this just seems weird. I knew it looked really bad blocky and stuff on this setting, and it's just like all over the place. But when I adjusted it, it's just like, all right, they're trying to tell me this looks bad, but this is considered HD. So I honestly did not know PS2 had HD quality graphics until the setting it was set to made it clear that this was for like a 1080p. PS2 games having 1080p, I did not know that it was 1080p. I thought it was a much lower graphical quality. When I think back now, it's just like, yeah, no, that makes sense. That does make sense. It's like that would explain a whole lot. You get something new and you think, oh, the hardware's so amazing now, better than a Steam Deck. Well, I'm not comparing it to a Steam Deck because all I wanted was a console that sits by my TV and I can use to play the games with my family. I would take a laptop over anything else and put games that would play on it and take that with me, but yeah, I'm not going to do that because I have the Switch. I consider the Switch not a console but a handheld, purely handheld. The Switch is purely handheld, and the Switch 2 is, well, from what I've seen and understand now, at the moment, quite a few Switches are overheating. So I don't know if you can consider them handhelds or anything, seeing how they were supposed to be bricked from the very beginning until you can get an update, which you can only get when you connect to the internet. And games that you have to ask to play, you do not own. And if you do not own anything you buy, then there's no point in buying said item. I will not buy a Switch 2. I will not buy brand new games for the Switch. I will buy used games. I will make sure that they are games that I do not have to connect to the internet. I will check before I use. I will not buy from Walmart because if you buy from Walmart, they will not let you return the games if they are open. Because they know once you find out how bad they are, how trash the whole thing is, you will return the items. And I consider the Switch to be, to a degree, trash. I consider the Switch 2 to be complete trash because of my standards. I have standards, which evidently a lot of other people do not have. I like to own stuff. I invested in my PC. I had a graphics card, but my CPU I felt was lacking. My other PC is sitting right beside me. So what I did was, instead of buying a bunch of games for the... I'm going to talk a little louder. Instead of buying games for the Switch, instead of buying multiple games to play, what I did was I invested what money would have went into games into buying parts. One game gets me a power supply, another game gets me a case, another game gets me a cooler, another game gets me a motherboard, another game gets me fans and a controller for them. And then another game, can't be fair, 2 games worth, get me a CPU. And another game gets me storage. By investing that money into those parts, I have so many free games. Now, I only said about the games. I didn't say anything about the membership you pay. You take that into consideration, everything just turns butt fuck wild. It makes it so it's less games, is what I'm saying, for those of you incompetent to invest in something. But I guess if it's something you enjoy, I can't damn you. At least not too much. I can only hope that you'd understand. You don't own it, so whenever you do get fucked, it's not, what the fuck is this? What are they doing? Okay, I gotta buy another one. You've gotta buy another one. Well, yeah, I gotta buy another one. You've gotta buy another one. Well, yeah, they bricked this one. They bricked it. Yes, I can't use it. And you don't think they're gonna brick the next one? Well, I mean, with the amount that you would have paid altogether at this point, you would have had a gaming PC. You were able to buy another one, but you weren't able to get a gaming PC. But the graphical performance, I need to point out the games that most of you play are on PC. Online, multiplayer, free. For PC gamers. You see, we build our own consoles. We pay the actual price of what it would cost to make a console. Yes, I said PC as a console. I noticed that. I did that on purpose. I did that for a reason. Because at the very beginning of this, I believe I did say, I was taught, my teachers knew about this, and we know this still today, console games are made on PCs. You can say, well, those PCs are designed to make in a specific way. They're designed to use this regular PC RAM, this CPU, this storage, which are all PC parts, sometimes, yes, they do make them so that you have specific components to them, but the whole basis of it, it's probably so you can't make their games specifically and outright to run on PCs. Yes, it runs on a PC, but with this minor little adjustment, you cannot run it on a PC. You're running it on a PC. Yes, these people that make emulators and we'll just say they're pirates, run their games on PCs. God damn, we go out of our way to make it so you can't, and you still do it. It would appear they like to own their games and they don't want to scratch up their discs. Huh. When they say they can't afford to put the game on a cartridge because the amount of storage would be too much. Look at the cheapest storage you can buy, because they're not using high-end storage. They're not using the high-end storage you would think they are. And they don't need to. It's just a show. If they claim they are using read and write speeds that are ridiculous, they're lying. Or they're using it and it's stupid anyways. About 500 to 1,000 megabyte read and write speeds for around $30 some. Now that's for half a terabyte. You gotta remember, on these things, all the storage is usable. Sometimes they add a little bit more for those occasions where it's designed to make make it so that it can transfer the information back and forth. For the most part, it is all usable. Okay. But the companies that sell these storage devices make a profit off of that. They put a program on. So while you're thinking about it, they could put the program onto the cartridges and sell them. They wouldn't make as much profit as they do selling you nothing. But they could give you the full DLC, entire game, and probably the entire library of multiple other games from other consoles that they make. Definitely from the N64 and back. Maybe not so much on the GameCube front, but still. I don't want to hear excuses when I've done the research to know that they're talking bullshit. I don't want to hear retarded excuses, alright? You are retarded. But I will accept that you have the right to purchase what you want to purchase. I will not be one of them. I will own my stuff. That's why I go to GOG. GOG! A place where you can buy your games, enjoy the fact that you can play them whenever you want, as long as you download them onto your system. You can put them on a USB thumb drive if you want, and take them to your friend's house. Put it onto their computer, not even needing to download the program that you can get GOG Galaxy to make it easier to access the game. Instead of searching for it, activating it, making a little icon for it, you can set it up so that the icon will be on GOG Galaxy and on your PC. Very simple to use. And what you do is you own the game. I had a situation when my internet went out. I didn't play, start up the games well online like you would have to on Steam to use them. So I downloaded my games onto my PC from GOG. And when the power went out, well, not the power, the internet went out. I'm so used to the power going out that it's just like, yeah. When the internet went out, what I did is I clicked on the game, hoping to God that it doesn't do that bullshit. And you know what? It did not do that bullshit that Steam does. Because there's no DRM, you own the game. You could take it, like I said, you could take it to your friend's place. They do not need to have any programs or anything or internet connection. And you can put your game onto their PC and play it. If they don't delete it, well, shit, they don't delete it. If you don't delete it, well, shit, you don't delete it. I don't care. You bought the game, took it to your friend's house to play it with them, and you played it with them if it's a multiplayer game. Yes, they even have games that you would have played on the N64 active online on GOG, like the Star Wars Racers. I was surprised too, but I remember playing that until I found there were other games that were actually better than it, and I realized all the effort I went into to being able to play on that shitty game. I could have been playing these good games. I think a lot of you, even though I put you down so much, are going to agree and want to give me hugs for the fact that I played that game to the point where you can actually be good at it as a kid. I want you to know I regret every moment of playing that. Anyway, yes, that's about it. I just wish that more of you would do what I do. Nintendo needs to make it so that they give you physical copies on cartridges. Give you a device, like what you'd have to do to buy a device that would let you put the games onto the PC to begin with if you wanted to play them on PC, or onto another Nintendo Switch. I'm talking about the MIG Switch. You buy that device, you're willing to buy that, if people are willing to buy that device to download a copy onto your PC so that you can convert it into a file that can be used on the Switch, on the MIG Switch, with the MIG Switch. People are willing to do that. They're willing to buy a little device that will allow them to connect it, cartridge, onto the PC. The games can play, they don't need to be on super heavy hardware. You design games to be 1080p, 1480p. I mean, did I say 1440p, which is what, 1.5K? Alright. Well, anyway, don't say 2K, please, for the love of God, don't say 2K. Alright, so what's stopping people from playing the games that wouldn't be graphically demanding? Because they are all games that wouldn't be graphically demanding if they could be played on a handheld. You have better cooling and all that. Just please, Nintendo. Please stop being corrupt and retarded. Let Palworld alone. You make copyright claims. You copyright the mechanics after another game is made with those mechanics. After multiple games with those mechanics are made, you copyright it. Now remember this, I'm saying as the Corporation Nintendo, which is not a person, should kill itself. Remember, the corporation is not a person. It is not a person that walks around, whistles, says what to do. It is a corporation. It is not a person. That's just all I really need to say. It's not a person. So by saying that Nintendo should kill itself, I'm not saying individuals should kill themselves. I'm saying the corporation should die. The corporation, which is not a person, should die. I'm making this very clear because people are retarded. The corporation, which is not a person, does not exist as a living being, should die. That should make it very clear. But I'll make sure to put this on. I'm gonna make a copy. Make sure it's known. What I said, I said. Upload it to another channel and stuff. And there you have it. Fuck Nintendo and fuck anyone who tries to justify not owning anything. Have a nice day. Take care. Toodaloo. My lovelies.